From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, shop at the SOR Vault, pick up a new book at We Read the Night. You can also join the SOR Space Travelers Club for $5 a month and catch Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by donating to Chive Charities today. You'll find them on our website. Originally, we had scheduled Lopaka Kapanui. We were going to talk Night Marchers from his tours that he does down in Hawaii. We were going to get into a bunch of Hawaiian folklore and legends of the past, the ghosts that still walk the native islands. However, this is what happened. Lopaka contacted me about an hour before the show, and he was ready to come on. The problem was his wife didn't know that he was scheduled to come on and booked a tour for him. So here I am, hanging out. I can't say anything bad. He was very apologetic. We're going to rebook him. But here I am, stranded, with less than an hour to go, trying to find a guest. So I immediately hop on the line, looking around, and there's Lorien Fenton. Ah, good old Lorien Fenton. Yes, always coming through in the clutch. She is like the cleanup hitter in Major League Baseball. Definitely.
Sorry, had to throw that in.
I know. Since when do you like Gretzky and the Edmonton Oilers? You're a San Jose Sharks fan.
No, but you remember the good old days? Remember those days when the Edmonton Oilers were winning a cup year after year and you just were getting pissed? I know. Tell me about it.
I still live that dream. I have been an Oilers fan since day one of 1979-80 hockey season.
Oh, yeah.
That's when I became an Oilers fan. I was 7 years old, and I saw Gretzky, and I was like, he is awesome.
Yeah, and he's a god. He's a god back then, I swear to you.
Still is.
I know. He has records that will never be broken. You know why? Because we changed the game so much since then. It's a defensive game now, not like it used to be. You remember the day? I kind of miss it, Dave. I miss the days.
I do
they
too.
go end to end every play, and there'd be a shot. There'd be an offensive barrage. Now we're stuck in the center ice, and getting into the zone is just a whole feed into itself nowadays.
It's become so technical. I mean, back in those days, hockey players would actually show up at training camp to get into shape. They're not showing up in shape.
That's right.
I don't understand why we need training camp and 10-day games of preseason beforehand, but oh well. It is what it is.
Do you remember a guy? God, I collected all of his stuff. I have his trading cards. I have everything about this guy, and the reason why is because he had the fastest shot in hockey at the
Al Iafrate?
Yes, Al. I collected all of his stuff. Do you remember the stories about him these were in the days before you had to sign the contract that said you would do no drugs, you wouldn't smoke, you would stay in shape 12 months out of the year, blah, 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 right? He was on a contract that just basically said, do what you want and show up. And the guy used to smoke, right? He'd be getting dressed. He's smoking a cigarette. He used to light his cigarettes with a butane small torch. And he had body piercings, and he had a Harley, and he was crazy dude. Anyhow, point to all this was that the guy had the fastest slap shot in hockey for years and years, and this guy smoked and drank and partied like there was no tomorrow. But the guy was amazing defenseman, really was, till his poor knees blew out, sadly.
I know. Knees are so hard on hockey.
They're
so hard. It's terrible.
It is.
It's terrible.
So how did we end up on hockey tonight?
Well, you're the one who brought it up. I could do an entire hockey show. I'm not lying or kidding about that. The days
I know.
of yesteryear.
Oh, God,
one day we have to. One day we have to.
Yeah, what we'll have to do is we'll have to get a whole bunch of people who have been abducted that have actually seen, like hockey pucks or aliens playing hockey, or, I want to find out if they have sports in the alien world. I've never heard of anybody talking about that. Have you?
Just our Keith Andrews, but he talks about everything. The woo factor is high there. But, I want to know what kind of alien Joe Thornton's beard is. That's what I want to know.
God, that is I think it's a cryptozoology.
Oh, he is Sasquatch. He is complete Sasquatch.
Exactly. I mean, I swear to God, it's just too much. That beard, oh my God. I can't believe it. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, just look up Joe Thornton and the San Jose Sharks right now, and that beard has got a life of its own. It should have a stick of its own, actually.
You ever see the hockey fight he was in a few years ago where the guy pulled out a chunk of his beard?
I missed that game. I don't know how I missed it.
Oh, just go on YouTube. Just go on YouTube. You can see it there.
Okay.
Big chunk of his beard came out.
I heard about it, but I never saw it. Yeah, very
Joe
cool.
Thornton. True story about Joe Thornton. When he was drafted first overall in 1997 by the Boston Bruins, he entered the NHL wearing the number 6.
Yes.
Now, number 6 is a defenseman's number.
That's right.
Because he was supposed to be a hotshot player, wearing the number 6, he got harassed a lot. All right? Because no good forwards have ever worn the number 6 in hockey.
That's
all right?
true.
So he switched to number 19, and within the season of him switching to number 19, he almost tripled his point production.
That is weird. Isn't that weird?
How is that for a little bit of hockey trivia right there?
Well, that's more than trivia. You know what that tells me? That tells me that there's some kind of, and I want to say almost paranormal, but more like, kind of just psychic.
Synchronistic?
Psychic, synchronistic, some kind of weird thing going on with the numbers there,
Well, here's the other thing. You know who went number 2 in that draft of 1997?
Oh, God, I used to know this.
You should know this.
I thought it was Joe Pavelski.
No, it was Patrick
it wasn't
Marleau.
Patrick Marleau. That's right. I was going to say.
That's right.
Yeah, it was one of our other guys that's back on the team.
I am full of useless hockey knowledge.
Oh, my God. I love
useless hockey knowledge. We'll talk.
We'll
talk when I'm speaking down at your UFO con in February 20th to 23rd.
Yeah, definitely.
Which by the way, I'm still waiting for those commercials from you.
You'll get them. Everybody, I promise you'll get them. It's going to be my voice or George Norrie's voice.
You know what's funny is Sparky here in the chat room. She goes, I hope Lorien will be speaking about the upcoming conference at the Holiday Inn San Francisco Airport, February 20th to 23rd. Yeah, I just read that. How coincidental.
That's so
thank
cute.
You, Sparky.
Thank you, Sparky. Oh, I love it. So they're all advertising for me. How adorable. I love your crew. I mean, they're amazing. So, yeah, let me talk a little bit about that at the beginning of the show here.
Go right ahead.
I've got Dave Scott speaking. He's one of our featured speakers. He's amazing. I think you guys all have heard of him. And hopefully he's going to talk a little bit about Carl and his experiences. But more than that, aren't you going to talk a bit about the conglomerations out there that are trying to control the UFO media? I thought that's what
I don't know. I don't know how that ties in to what you're doing. So I may stay away from that. But I think what I may do is throw in a few stories that, that people are not catching on to. Because let me explain something. When I spoke at the Toronto ACE conference back in September.
Right.
Now, this isn't news to our listeners here, but for that audience, because we don't get a lot of East Coast listeners just yet due to our time change and everything like that. But I mentioned a bunch of my experiences, how I've seen Sasquatch and all this kind of stuff. And then right near the end, I dropped the bomb about don't report any UFO sightings to the RCMP because all of your information gets into the hands of the United States military.
Right.
And I went on my last 10 minutes about this. And there was like 350, almost 400 people sitting in there listening, with my mentor, Grant Cameron, in there, and a good friend of yours as well. Mm-hmm. And here I am dropping this. Victor Vigiani is just jaw-dropped by the information that I'm giving up. I come off the stage, everybody's clapping, good job, whatever, and I'm appreciative of that. The first 9 people who come up to me right afterwards, can you tell us about Sasquatch?
Oh, God.
I'm sitting there saying, I just gave you fantastic information about what I think is a travesty about Canadian UFO information at a UFO conference, and all you want to do is talk Sasquatch.
I know. I'm telling you, see, this is a big problem, and it's not. I love our audiences. Don't get me wrong; they're usually very articulate, very well spoken, very intelligent. They've done their research. I mean, these guys, they come up with great questions usually. But the problem I'm starting to have with most of the major conferences is that people that are there are almost there for more of an entertainment value than they are the actual facts about what's going on within the what I call the grind of ufology, which is the things that the government's doing around it, and what the groups like To the Stars Academy are doing with disclosure, and what who the people are behind the scenes in ufology, which Grant Cameron's written a great book called Above Majestic or Magic? Yeah.
Making Magic or something.
Making Magic, yeah, along those lines. Anyhow, and what Melinda Leslie and I both research about all the different people behind the scenes and all these years that they've been controlling the whole bit, as you know, plus how the media controls it. And I think these are very important topics to be discussing. And yes, I love Bigfoot. I love the aliens. I love the UFOs. I love all that. But we live in a 3D reality. And in this reality, who's controlling the chessboard to me is much more important than, yeah, I saw one and this is what he looked like, right now in my paradigm. It's really important. So, when I'm at the conferences and people, start talking to me about stuff and they're asking me, well, yeah, what if the Greys are doing this and what if, all that. It's wonderful to talk about it, you guys. But my biggest peeve about the whole community is we don't take into account our history, and we don't take into account what's going on right at the time and who's controlling what we perceive as history in the ufology field after it's happened. I mean, think about this for a second. There are 25 versions of Roswell out there. Why do you think that happened? It happened because these guys that are pulling the strings want us to have 25 versions so we can sit around the campfire at night and fight over that instead of looking to our left where they're over there taking the whole Roswell story and hiding it from us, and we'll never know the truth. They want us to have 25 versions of lies, so we never understand what really happened. And that's the part that makes me nuts. And nothing against your Sasquatch-loving people at the conference, but if it had been me and I was up there and you just dropped that bombshell, I would have been up there going, do you have more for me? I want to know more information about what the government's hiding from us.
Well, you mentioned a key word there, history. And actually, I did write an intro to you that kind of delved into that a little bit, because the way that ufology has taken over a whole different controversy with online arguments, social media drama the last 18 months, old school researchers really staying off social media to concentrate more on their studies, and then the younger generation taking advantage of social media to get their ideas out of what is going on. I want to ask you about this. How important is the history of this, and why is there such an argument, Lorien, about going back in time from Roswell forward and learning about those at the same time we are trying to take this to a whole new level with what's going on with ufology today?
Yeah,
Why is the
around
disconnect?
disclosure. The disconnect is there because people are lazy. I mean, I'm sorry, I hate to say it, Dave, but you look at these kids out there nowadays, and I'm not going to name names because it'll just make me nuts. I'm sitting here trying not to beat on my desk. My biggest problem with these young people is okay, I'm going to just go for this for a second. I was invited on a show by a couple of young guys in the community. They're brand new to the community. They were amazing. You know why? Because they asked me questions about the history of ufology, and I gave them answers to the best of my ability. I don't know everything. I just remember a lot. I'm lucky that way. And I may get names wrong. I may get dates wrong. You know, I may do some things like that. So what I told them was, don't take everything I say, you know, at face value. Please go back and look it up and maybe make a correction on the website as to the date that actually happened, because I just don't remember. I know it was the early 80s or something. But they were wonderful because they kept asking me about the past and how it relates to the future now, and who was doing what back then that relates to what's happening now. And I thought that was brilliant of them, because they didn't act like they knew everything. And then I'm invited on another show, which I turned down because the young person that has the show seemed to want to tell me what to say. They were trying to tell me what agenda I could have on their show. And then they started talking about something that never happened at all. How's that for interesting? And they believed it was real. And I was like, okay, now wait a minute. That was proven to be false a long time ago by many different people. And how you can sit here and tell me that I will have to have this discussion with you about it, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to be on your show. And it was that simple. I just said I'm not doing it. And I don't understand why they think it's more important that they come out of the conversation as the person who is more knowledgeable than their guest. See, to me, that's just so bizarre. I can't even fathom it. And I'm very confused. That's all I can say. I mean, what's that? Do we raise a bunch of people that their ego is more important than anything else on this planet?
Well, you know what? I can answer a bit of that, Lorien.
I don't get it.
And how I can answer that is this. You know, I may be 46 years old, but I'm still a relative newcomer to this whole thing, even though Spaced Out Radio will be 5 years old on November 30th.
Really? It's been that long? Oh
that
my
long
God.
already.
Time flies.
And the idea that I was looking at, and the reason why I think there is this little bit of an ego that goes on with a lot of the younger or newer researchers is because a lot of the veteran, older researchers, you know, and I say the word older with all due respect.
Thank you.
do not give a lot of the younger people time, because they've seen so many fly-by-nighters. They've seen so many people come out and you know, take their information or blow it up on social media like they're best buddies and really try and use that person's name. But I know for me, we never did that.
No,
with this show.
never.
You know that. But
I know
there are still guests who are veteran researchers who will not give me the time of day. And I can tell you this. I walked up to a table. I'm not going to say whom, but I walked up to a table at the Toronto Alien Cosmic Expo.
Okay.
At the bar on the Saturday night. There was an open chair with there was about 4 speakers there. The 2 I will name are Randy Kramer and Travis Walton. They were sitting at the opposite end. And 2 of them were sitting on the end where there's an open chair. And I walked in, I sat down, both of them saw me, didn't say a single hi, how are you, head nod, nothing.
What?
I was there for 15 minutes because now it was getting fun. I wanted to time this out. and then I got up and I left.
Okay, and not one word to you. Did he even Travis nodded to you, didn't he?
No, I didn't know Travis at that time. Sunday night, the Sunday after the conference, Travis Walton and I had an amazing conversation. an
Wonderful.
amazing conversation.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying. I am trying.
Well,
Right.
it's not even that, Dave. It's just that, even if you just sat up there and, you joined the conversation, maybe they're annoyed that somebody just joined that they don't know. Well, whatever, at least turn around and say, hi, who are you? What are you up to? If they're having a private conversation. I've been at all these conferences for years. You know that. I've probably been going to conferences for 15, 20 years now pretty regularly, like every main conference I'm there. And everybody knows me. But the people I don't know, if I want to get to know them, I'll walk right up and I'll listen to their conversation and I'll say, and at some point I always go, excuse me, hi, my name's Lorien Fenton and I'm a radio talk show host and I'd love to hear what you guys are talking about. Is it okay if I join your conversation? And I do that. And I'm glad you didn't do that because I'm just curious why they didn't acknowledge your presence or even know you were there. By the time I get to the point where I'm telling them who I am, they've already looked me in the eye, nodded their head like I'm part of the conversation. They're not ignoring me. They're not, running the other direction or annoyed that I'm there. They just accept that there's a new person in the conversation until I can actually get a word in and introduce myself. Okay. So now these guys didn't even give you the nod. They didn't look at you. They didn't anything.
No. Nothing.
Oh my God.
Nothing.
Oh my God. How rude. Okay. I'm not going to say another word about that. That's just that now I'm mad.
Well, I also want to say too, it's not about playing woe is me or anything along those lines. Cause frankly, I don't care. Right.
Well, you know what?
My ego wasn't hurt.
I understand that, but I'll tell you something. As a conference producer, if I've got 4 of my speakers sitting there like that and they're sitting in my conference and they do something like that, I would be furious if I found out about it later because you know what? I'm not paying you guys, but you know what I mean? If I'm a big time conference producer and I've got you guys there, I expect you to take all of my attendees, whether you know them or not, and at least acknowledge their presence. Okay? I'm sorry, but I expect that from my people. And you know what's funny is most of my people come up to me and I even tell the guys they have to wear suits. And I'm very, I'm bossy about being a conference producer. But you know what? It makes you guys all come out as a professional. In the end, hopefully the person on that podium has learned something about being a professional and being kind to everybody who paid a ticket to see you. And I think that's super important. And I'm probably one of the only people out there doing that, But I mean, again, everybody that speaks at my conference, I know very well. Or if I don't know them well, I make a point to call them a whole bunch of times to get to know them well before the conference. Because I like to know who I'm dealing with. I just don't invite people to speak at my conferences because they're going to bring me a paycheck.
I hear you.
And that's a big problem too,
Lorien, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Lorien Fenton is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We're just going to go into a UFO convo. No script, no nothing, just wherever the conversation goes. If you got a question, fill it out in our chat rooms or on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. We'll be back right after this.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Finish off your weekend and kick off your new week with me, Everett Thiemer, right here on Spaced Out Sundays. I'm going to bring you great guests, a little bit of snark, and plenty of information to think about. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty of woo as well. We are going to hit everything in the paranormal and supernatural, including the odd psychic Sundays. So tune us in on Sunday, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you will be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a Space Traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Looking for something new to push your limits? Look Beyond the Spectrum, a new docuseries featuring some of the best researchers in the world when it comes to everything from UFOs, government cover-ups, and Bigfoot in the forest. Truth seekers like Steve Bassett, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Richard Dolan, as well as others all chip in to bring their knowledge to you. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon as well as Tubi TV. Tell us what you think on our Amazon page.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have each and every one of you with us. Reminder to all of you that if you are looking for our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, do a little shopping at the SOR Vault, pick up a new book at We Read the Night. Join the crew at the SOR Space Travelers Club right now for $5 a month, and read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Lorien Fenton is here from the Fenton Perspective, talking about UFOs, ufology, everything that is going on today. And right before the break, actually, Lorien, before we went off on tangent again, which we always seem to do, I was asking you about the history. Why is there such a despicable attitude between the older generation of ufologists and the newer generation, and why can't that be combined? And I was telling you a story about how I was ignored in Toronto by a couple of veterans. And the point that I was trying to get at with that story is the fact that I don't think a lot of these veteran people are giving credit and credence to the hard work that a lot of the newer generation of ufologists or researchers are putting in. And I think the other issue is a lot of these older speakers, researchers, authors, whomever they are probably getting a little bit upset because a lot of the newer people are coming out with great information, and this could eventually cost some people their careers.
Well, I agree with you on that point. The point I was trying to make also before the break was the fact that I was on one show where the guys were very observant of the fact that they were respecting their elder in the UFO community and were asking a lot of really poignant and great questions instead of telling me what they thought they knew, which I thought was wonderful. And then another case in point where I had a younger person get a hold of me and say, well, love you on the show, but, blah, 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 kind of setting parameters that I didn't think were very fair at all, and I just refused to be on the show. So, there's 2 points to look at that. And yes, the younger guys or gals are all having very different and new different paradigms of what they're talking about. And I think that does scare the older researchers who are very nuts and bolts. But it doesn't seem they seem to be getting along fine with the older researchers that are not really as much researchers, more contactees. And I think we're going to see a great pairing of the younger contactees or younger researchers with the older contactees, because they kind of speak the same language. There's no age difference between the two of those type of commentaries or radio shows or, podcasts or whatever you're doing. If you're talking contactee with researcher and the researcher's the younger person, there should be no problems. It's definitely going to be with the hard nuts and bolts guys, the older guys with the younger guys, because there's a difference in respect. Like let's take Stanton Friedman, for example. Some of these younger guys went to Stanton and said, I want you on the, my podcast to do this or that or whatever. And they started injecting their opinion into Stanton as, commentary. Stanton used to just cut him off and just say, you don't know what you're talking about, and just lay into him. I mean, he wouldn't put up with any of that stuff, and that's what I loved about some of these old cantankerous guys. They wouldn't put up with frivolous or non-important information that you could not prove or not prove. Okay. So I get that. But anyhow, I was going off on such a tangent there. I lost what you were asking.
No, I think you brought up a good point, though, is that many of the younger generation want to make sure that their point gets across, to show how hard they are working.
Right.
But I do see it, though, the other way around, whereas the younger generation has kind of been looking at this cold shoulder that the older generation of researchers has given them and kind of says, screw you. We're going to use social media to our advantage. We're going to use our networking to our advantage. We're going to build a base. We're going to, get a bunch of us together, and we're going to create the new foundation after all you old birds die off. Right? Mm-hmm. And I mean that with all respect, but when you're not sharing information, when you're, kind of like ignoring people who are working hard for the right reasons. I'm not talking about the liars and charlatans out there, and we know who they are. But I'm saying that the good hard workers out there who are not even getting a blink of an eye at speaking at a conference, but here we got Corey Good making thousands of dollars each conference to bring his groupies out there. All right. It's blasphemous. So I can see where this younger generation is saying, screw history, screw Roswell, screw the Marfa lights, even going back 23 years, screw the Phoenix lights. Means nothing. Where are we now? Where are we now? And that is the United States military is admitting they're looking into this. The To the Stars Academy, Tom DeLonge's a god, and that's what our focus is on, and screw the rest of you. And you know what? The older generation, I think, did it to themselves.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And I don't blame them at all for doing what they're doing. I'm just saying I think there's ways to do it that's respectful to some of the people that aren't the big dogs. I mean, I'm not a big dog at all. I'm a little tiny chihuahua, even though I'm not built like one. And these guys that interviewed me treated me with the utmost respect. And I thought that was amazing. And in turn, I'm trying to do as much as I can to help them out, to learn things and guide them, what you should know and what you need to know in the future. Because when you're talking about this kind of thing, you can't just not know anything. You can't just start a podcast out there. See, that's what makes me crazy is people who know nothing about ufology start a podcast about ufology. I mean, I don't even get that. I'm like, I ask these guys, are you interested in the subject? Are you a contactee? Why are you even doing this? Well, it turns out one of them has seen a UFO and the other one wants to know more about it. So they're very curious. And I get that. That's great. But I've actually talked to people who are doing podcasts about the paranormal, UFOs, aliens, whatever, only because it's the hot item to talk about, not because they've ever even had anything happen in their lives. And I don't know, maybe I'm just old school, but why would you even bother? Why don't you be a sports broadcaster? If you love football or basketball or hockey, go do that, I mean,
no money in that.
Well, there's no money. Is there any money in ufology, Dave? Come on.
There's no money in radio. There's no money in radio. You have to make your own.
That's right.
But you know what? It's about getting the message out because a lot of these people have tried, Lorien. They have tried.
True.
And they have been, like I said, they have been cold-shouldered. Okay, there's not many Grant Camerons out there. There's not many Lorien Fentons or Melinda Leslies out there, okay, who want to hear this information. All right?
Yeah.
And then, for every Grant Cameron, there's 3 or 4 or 5 David Ikes or David Wilcox out there who don't have it, who want you to kiss the ring and don't make eye contact.
I know. It's sad. But you know what? It was like that when I first got involved years ago. There were very few people out there doing this. I mean, there was Whitley Strieber, there was Stanton Friedman, there was, Robert Odine, Jordan Maxwell, David Icke, And that is about it. I mean, there were a couple more, but I can't think of who they were right now. But literally, it was 10, maybe 12 people tops that were like the top guys doing it. And at that time, people didn't do podcasts. Okay, it wasn't available. Social media wasn't around, but there weren't that many people clamoring to become reporters in the field or do anything like that. But there was another thing going on that's not happening now, and that is we all grew up without a computer. We all grew up without a cell phone. And when you said the word research to somebody, or you said, I'm a contactee and I'm telling you my story about what I've done, you wouldn't think, first of all, to ever not be a researcher and go talk to these people. Okay, that's number one. Because if you're just a person and listening to their story, you're a person listening to their story. You're not considering yourself a researcher or a podcaster or a radio talk show host or this or that. If you were an actual news person and working for a newspaper, now that's different. Then you would go talk to them. You'd have a reason to. But there wasn't this prevalence of everybody had something and everybody's was important. Everybody's podcast was important. Back then there was nothing. And there was this respect for these people that went beyond, like this guy. I mean, you've seen the stuff that Grant's put out about Stanton Friedman's research papers? You've seen all that, right?
Yes.
I mean, okay, that is a real researcher, guys. This is a guy who kept every scrap of paper, did everything. He's got tons of information, tons of FOIA requests, tons of letters from people. I mean, this guy was a researcher. Oh, Jim Mars. That was the other name I was thinking of. And people like Jim Mars, same thing. Tons of research, tons of phone calls, tons of letter writing, tons of, trying to get information back in a time where we couldn't get instant information. And by the way, the information they were getting back then wasn't a bunch of, you could say that 80% of the time it wasn't lies and made up stuff or Photoshop stuff or, whatever. These guys were going to the real people. They were going to like the CIA whistleblowers. They were talking to people of substance, like scientists. They'd go out of their way to deal with them. I mean, it wasn't like every Tom, Dick, and Harry had a story and we'd running to them and they'd run with it. It had to be something of substance, importance, and, it had to have a lot of witnesses. That was another huge part of it. It had to be something like the Betty and Barney Hill case, where there was a lot of research done afterwards and during and with hypnotherapy sessions and blah, blah, blah. All I'm trying to say here is that these guys, yes, they may have cut themselves off from these younger crowds now because of the way they do what they do. I totally get it if they don't want to talk to them. But they've also isolated themselves, just like you're talking about, from the younger people, because the younger people don't understand what they went through to get to where they're at. They just didn't pick up YouTube and start a YouTube channel one day and say, I'm a ufologist. I mean, and I'm right kind of in the middle of all that because I'm 62. I'm not 80. The guys that are 75 and 80 doing this right now, I totally get why they want nothing to do with these young people. They just look at them as frivolous little children. I get that. And the older guys in the field now are in their 50s and 60s, my age, and they're a little more forgiving, but they're having the same problem with the younger people too. They don't understand how one day a kid wakes up and then he's on a TV network with a podcast about UFOs and he knows nothing about it. How does this even happen? I mean, I'm sorry. So I'm sticking up for the older guys here right now.
Well, you self-title yourself as an investigative journalist if you're that person, but nonetheless, I know who you're talking about there, but nonetheless, I understand where you're going with that, because what's happened here is the younger generation, if I'm reading you correctly, has basically, after getting the cold shoulder from the older statesmen and women of ufology, has basically come around and said, well, if you're cold shouldering us, we're going to, take our podcasts, take our radio shows, take our YouTube channels, and we're going to try and embarrass you.
That's right.
For the lack of research. So it's almost like a tit for tat sort of issue here.
Yeah, and there is one other part to this that I forgot to mention. All the research these guys did, how do you take these guys with our new paradigm of the way they function, which is social media, TV, Netflix, this whole bit about making movies and documentaries and doing all this stuff. How do you even take what they went through to get and give it to that younger crowd? It's very difficult. As Grant Cameron's finding out, sitting there going through all of Stanton Friedman's papers, it's a tedious, long process. Now, imagine if Stanton had a research assistant that wanted to take over what he was doing. He'd have to really work hard at doing it. And I'm going to say this again. He would have had to work really hard at doing it. I think the younger people don't understand what real research work is, and they don't need to because it's not required of them anymore. And that's another problem we've got. Is they're not required to follow up. They're not required to dig into something and find out if it's truly real or not. They're not required to do any of this because nobody's breathing down their neck saying, well, if it's not real, I'm not going to publish it tomorrow in the paper. You're not going to get a paycheck. It's not that kind of thing like in real journalism. And they just make stuff up as they go, and that makes the older crowd just infuriated, Because, I hate to tell you this, but Third Phase of Moon is just about everybody that's older researcher just rolls over when they hear the name of that show. Because 90% of it's garbage, CGI. And I'm just, I get their point. So I'm trying to look at it from both sides, folks, and I understand why the younger people are a little lazier. They don't have to work hard, and I get it. And they also, another thing is, there's so much stuff out there now that I don't blame them for just running with the story. And whether it's real or not, it's another whole issue they'll deal with on another day. I don't blame them at all. Because they've got to compete with all the other people out there that don't care if it's real or not, and out there with their podcast, lining up to get their stuff done. I'm going to tell you a quick story. Do we have time?
We got about 6 minutes.
Okay, perfect. For the first 2 or 3 years I was doing my show over at Revolution Radio, I didn't realize it, but there were 3 big networks out there listening to my guest and actually booking a lot of them on their shows later. And the reason they were is because they were running out of new people to bring on their show because there were so few of the older people that, the older researchers and the people out there that were writing books and, actually doing stuff in the field that we had a kind of a lag. I'd say right after 9/11 up until about 2010, there was just this lag of there was just not a lot of people coming forward talking about their stuff. So when I started my show in 2011, right at the end of that kind of dead period, people were starting to come forward with their stories more. There was a big awakening around 2012, and I was bringing a lot of these new people on my show, and a lot of them have gone quite far in their, if you want to call it a career, I don't know if whatever it is. So these big networks would be listening to my show, and then they book these people I have on my show thereafter. Anyhow, I come to find out that they were using my show as a vetting process as to whether these people seemed credible or not. And I'd be doing their research for them by bringing them on my show, asking them the somewhat tough questions and trying to, just glean whether these people were, of enough veracity that they would want to have them on their show. And quite a few times they did, which was, I thought, wonderful. And I'll name some of the shows for you guys. It was Coast to Coast, John B. Wells, and what was the other big one that, it was Joyce Riley. And there was another guy that was listening to my show that was recommending to somebody big back east. Anyhow, so it's just interesting to me, though, that these people were smart enough. On one hand, I was kind of like, well, God, they're just stealing my people after I'm the one who went and brought them out here, But then I was happy because it really showed me that when they brought these people out to the fore and they actually got a name for themselves and they're good veracity people with good, credentials, what have you, and you could believe their story. It was good to see that they were going someplace with it. So I was happy about that. But anyhow, what was I saying? I don't remember what we're talking about. Sorry. I've been on radio all day today. I got done filming, not filming, but videotaping for 4 hours of a show today, so I'm a little out there. So anyhow, I hope you guys get my point to that.
Well, I think what it is, there's not a lot of homework being done on both sides. I think the attacking side, which is because the younger generation has the more apt skills on social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Imgur, Reddit, YouTube, Twitch, whatever it may be.
Instagram, don't forget old Instagram.
And Instagram. But right now, the balance of power has shifted. And I don't think the other generations of ufologists have been able to catch up. Yeah,
I don't either. And I just, and it's sad, but it's true. And, they're creating I got to give the younger guys, a lot of credit. They're creating a whole new paradigm of social media that is really powerful at getting a story out there. Something big's happening. We're all going to pay attention to it, and they're really good at that. And I love them for it. I really do. I love the fact that I could, hit my Twitter and see that Bob Lazar's on Joe Rogan today, or whatever. And I would not have known that 20 years ago. I wouldn't have had a way to find out. Maybe weeks later, I would have found out and had to try to find it somewhere and listen to it. So thank God for social media and the way it's really taking over our lives in some ways. In other ways, I hate it.
Well, you know what, though? It's the griping, though. Because, what I have noticed is with a lot of these younger generation, they're like pack animals. Okay? And they all have...
What do you mean by that? I can't wait to hear
I'm going to explain that. You know what? I'm going to explain that in hour 2.
Okay.
Because
I'm dying to hear it.
We've only there, but what they do is they go and create 4 or 5, maybe or more, different profiles. And what they do, on Twitter especially, and they go and hammer you and troll you and literally try and spike you and drive you nuts through social media.
Why would anybody bother?
Because that's the attitude.
Easy. They can't do much more damage to me.
No, but Lorien, it's not about you. It's about the power of social media has the ability to either boost you or absolutely blow you away.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And that's what they do.
And that's what they do.
And that's what they do is they go in like pack animals. So you may have 5 people with 3 different profiles each on Twitter. And if they don't like what you're saying because, say, they're To the Stars Academy supporters, or they are pro Richard Dolan or pro Corey Goode or David Wilcock, they come out in full force and attack.
Yeah, just like
what's happening.
Yeah, just like what Corey Goode's group did to Joe in the Carolinas when they doxed him. Yeah, that was pretty ugly, I got to admit. I don't understand that part of it. I don't think I ever will, Dave. I really don't understand why people think it's okay to attack and hurt other people. Unless they've done something really horrible, no one deserves that. But we created it. We created it with social media. We created it with the government mind control. I mean, we all know now these days that the CIA was a seed funder for Google and Facebook. So knowing that, and we still think it's okay to go on Facebook and bash people and tell people how we think and what we're doing. All you're doing is you're giving everybody in an alphabet agency the understanding that you're pliable and you're usable for them for whatever purpose they want.
I got to cut you off right there because we're going to break here at the top of the hour. Lorien Fenton, the Fenton Perspective, coming up in hour 2 of Spaced Out Radio. Stay tuned.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
Come Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans! It's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from vans to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thiemer. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
at spacedoutradio.com. We have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour 2 is underway of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. Let's give a shout out to everybody listening in on our digital side on Revolution Radio and Kingdom of Nye Radio. All praise Bart L. And, of course, on our terrestrial stations, WQEE 99.1 FM in Newnan, Georgia. In Ridgecrest, California, KZFX 93.7 FM. KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon. UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans and in Dangerfield, Texas, AM 1560 KDNF. Want to remind all of you that you can find our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Balustraria. There it is. Balustraria is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where you can pick up some new t-shirts, hoodies, you name it, we got it. You can also pick up a great book at We Read the Night. Join the SOR Space Travelers Club. It's a packed house in there tonight. Hi, Lisa, Haderach, a number of more of you. And, of course, Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire is updated daily. Lorien Fenton is here tonight with the Fenton Perspective as we are talking all things ufology tonight. She's a fill-in guest. Not that that's a bad thing. After our original guest, Lopaka Kapanui, had to bail on us about an hour before showtime. But that's okay. We're going to bring him back. Lorien, welcome back.
Thank you. I like being a fill-in guest. It makes me feel privileged.
It is. You're a quick phone call. Hello, Lorien. Come on the show. Okay, I'm there. It's awesome.
Well, it was weird that you called me today of all days. I took the day off work so I could stay home, and it was an audio tape with some video in there at some point with some guys from another network, and we were going to do a 2-hour show. They extended it to a 3-hour show, and then they asked me to do another hour for another thing they were doing, and I said, sure. So I literally had just hung up from 4 hours of doing radio, and I'm getting these phone calls, and I'm going, Dave, oh, he must need me for the show tonight. I knew exactly what you wanted, so here I am. I hopefully make it through the night. So there we are. I'm dedicated to you. I'm dedicated to you.
I appreciate that. Right before the break, we were talking about the discrepancies between the younger ufologists that are out there and the older ones. And right before the break, I also mentioned how a number of the younger generation who is really taking advantage of social media, getting their voices out there, some of them have taken it a little too far. I have been witness to this recently. And you know what? I can handle good snark. I love good snark. You know, as long as it's clean, fun, healthy. You know, anybody who is out there who can really, really make me laugh by some sort of sarcastic wit, I love it. I think it's hilarious. It's really my humor. But when it gets personal, that's where I have an issue. So I'm not going to mention the troll's name, but recently I've had this troll, and I think I know who it is. I really do. I'm down to about 4 or 5 names of my names of elimination here. And I do have some people helping me out with that. Who's recently thinks it's funny to attack me because I have mental illness with depression and anxiety that I'm very proud to speak of. As well, this person has decided that apparently I'm racist and I'm a pedophile.
I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, that I shouldn't be allowed around children. So I reported this to Twitter, and Twitter came back after I showed the proof. Twitter comes back and says, we don't see anything wrong with these tweets.
What?
Yeah. Now, I will not block the profile because I figure, you know what? You can take a shot at the show, at me, at anybody, our guests, whomever. Make it fun. Make it light. You know, have some fun with the, you know, the attitude and everything. But when you start making it personal and you start attacking that way, considering I know the people this person hangs out with, I will find out. Now, I know it's usually a bad move. Usually you should never acknowledge the troll and everything like that. And normally I don't. But when you get personal and you start to make false, heinous, sick, vile accusations about people, you attack their health, you attack their morality, you attack, you know, that's not fair game. So I've decided, since Twitter won't do anything about this fake profile, that when I do find out who it is, and I've got my spies out there looking, waiting, that I've got enough evidence now that I can pretty much go to the RCMP and file a complaint, which I will.
Good. And you should.
Yeah. I can take it. You know, like on Twitter, I have a group of snarkers who are fantastic. They make me laugh every night. Every single night. Right?
I know some of your snarkers, and they're pretty funny people, I gotta say.
Right? Oh, yeah. They make me laugh. And I enjoy it. And I try to quip back. I really do. Because it's funny. And that's my sick type of sense of humor that I have. But when you were making horrendous accusations about racism, about
your kids,
children,
yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's where I draw the line.
Yeah.
That's where I draw the line, and that's where I get a little bit serious.
Yeah, you should be a lot more than a little serious. You should get really angry and do something about it, and I would definitely get a hold of the RCMP.
I'm not blocking the person because I want them to keep going.
No, they'll hang themselves. They'll eventually get in there and do something stupid, and you'll know exactly who it is, and they'll hang themselves. That's what happened with the Tory Goods crowd when they were snarking on, trolling on Joe from the Carolinas and C.W. Chanter, they eventually exposed themselves, and they got into their system and figured out it was 10 people in a private Facebook group that Corey had created just to give them orders on who to go after. Isn't that fun? And Dave, this has been proven. It's been absolutely proven, and they're trying to bring a lawsuit against them for doing exactly this. C.W. Chanter is a lawyer, and they're working towards bringing a lawsuit against Corey Goode and all these people that were in this Facebook group. And I swear to you, I'm at an event just recently, and a woman friend of mine that is an avid Corey Goode follower came up to me and said, "Oh, how are you doing? And isn't everything great? I'm going to go see Corey. I'm going to his event down in Southern California that happened in August." And I said to her, I said, I'm so sorry. I said, why would you want to support somebody who's been caught, red-handed, telling people to dox people and get them to almost lose their jobs and everything? She goes, "I don't know what you're talking about." And I said, well, Corey Goode orchestrated that whole Facebook campaign with all these people doxing people he didn't like, and people got hurt. There were a lot of problems. And I said, I thought by now you'd stop following this guy and figured out he's a scammer and a thief and, a liar. You know me, folks. I don't pull punches when I talk to anybody. And she looked me dead in the eye, Dave, and she said, "He never did any of that." And I said to her, my God, it's been proven. I mean, they showed on everything that, they traced it back to him. Anyhow, it's been proven. It's not a joke. It's not a lie. It's not a rumor. It's none of these things. It's a fact. And she goes, "Well, I'm sorry. I don't believe it, and I'm following him." And she goes, "Maybe we should go back to our old agreement." And I said, "Yeah, our old agreement where we're not allowed to talk about Corey Goode when we're together." And she goes, "That's right." So, I mean, this is the kind of following he has. He has brainwashed people somehow with some kind of crazy story, which I still don't know. I don't understand how these people haven't figured out that everything that comes out of his mouth, and this goes back to our people who don't know our history in ufology, every story that's come out of his mouth, I can pinpoint back to somebody's story in the last 20, 30, or 40 years. So somebody fed him every bit of information he's got. Not every bit, but almost all of it, 80 to 85% of it. And people, because they don't know the history, and this is where the young kids, this is where the problem is. People come out every day with their stories about ufology. They're being contacted, they're being taken, this has happened, blah, blah, blah. And these young kids in ufology with their podcasts and what have you, go about like, these guys are telling the truth, and they don't understand. When I hear these person talk, I go, "Oh my God, that's what so-and-so said back, in 1976, because I remember that story." So I'm like going, okay, now don't they understand that this is almost verbatim exactly what happened to somebody else? And at that point, you've got to ask yourself, is this guy for real or not? That's when doing something like what I do is very important. You call that person up. You get to know him on the telephone. I mean, I would never even have Clifford Stone or Lynn Buchanan or David Adair or all the people I've had on my radio shows over the years. I would never even let them on my radio show, even knowing that they're well known in the community. I wouldn't even have my show until I called him 3 times. This is Lynn Buchanan, I got to know Lynn because I wanted to know the truth about what he was talking about, and I didn't want the rumors and lies. And I told him, I said, just tell me what happened during all the remote viewing stuff, and we'll talk about it, and you give me the truth on my show. And he goes, I'd be happy to do that, because there were so many rumors and lies going around. In 2012, when I did research on him, I'd heard so many things like he stopped the heartbeat of a goat because it was in the movie. Well, that's not true. It's not even close to being true. So, that's just an example. So what I'm trying to say is you got to get to know these people. You can't just take what they say at face value, and you got to talk to them. And even if it's all lies, at least, you did your due diligence and you got them together on the phone with you and you listen to their story and you hang up, you go, well, I've heard that before. It was a story from 1982 from so-and-so, like the Anderson experience or whatever. I'm not going to put them on my radio show, or I'm not going to report on them. But what the young kids are doing now is everybody who's got a story gets to be heard. And hey, it's okay if they want to do it, that's fine. But to me, it's just not doing due diligence,
Well, you know what? It doesn't do anybody any good either.
No,
the problem is when you use certain catchphrases that are, excuse me, a little too popular today to throw around, you can ruin lives. And if that's people's goals, to ruin lives and to make fun, and I don't want to spend too much more time on this, Lorien, because I think we kind of made our point, but when you are trying to ruin people's lives and trying to spread false accusations, what you have to remember is for every action, there's a reaction, whether it's positive or negative. And you have to be able to battle it. The problem is the gullibility on social media. If you have a differing opinion, once that type of crap gets out there, it's hard to shake.
Oh, tell me about it.
It's very hard to shake. And I can tell you this, if that person is listening right now, like I said, I will go to the police because I know the RCMP takes, that type of stuff very seriously, number one. But I can guarantee, number two, that if it continues on the personal attacks like that I will sue. And anybody should for defamation of character.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Because the last thing, you cannot escape what's shown up on social media. You just can't escape it. And you know what? They're using social media now for your job interviews. And the last thing you need is something on Twitter saying you're a pedophile. Are you ever going to get a job? No. So you got to sue the person. You don't have a choice anymore in this day and age.
That's right. It's terrible. But let's move on. Happier times. Gail has a question for you. Getting back to when you were talking about the CIA seed funding for Facebook and Google, what did you mean by that? What did you find out?
They were behind them all the way. And I told you the story here on the show, I think before, but I'll repeat it again. Back in the mid-90s? You guys, I don't remember. Honestly, I'm sorry, I'm tired. But I was at a party when Facebook moved into their first campus down in San Mateo, or was it San Carlos? I can't remember. Anyhow, I was at their party on their new campus with my first husband, who was a computer programmer, and we got invited to it, and I don't even remember how or why, but we ended up there. I'm sitting on a couch facing two guys and a gal on another couch. They're programmers. My husband is on my left. He's talking to the two guys that were facing him, and I'm sitting there just kind of chit-chatting with this new person I just met, this woman. And she says to me, she goes, I asked her, how's the new campus? What do you guys think of it? Do you like it? Is it big enough? Where's your server farm? Is it here on premises? What have you? And I said, how's the new security? I'm going through a bunch of, just kind of questions you go through when you're talking shop anyhow, because we had a computer business ourselves at the time. And she starts answering the questions, and then we get to the part about the server farm, and she goes, there's this big building at the end of the campus over on there, and she kind of points off in a direction, and she goes, that's supposed to be our server farm, but she goes, what's weird is that they put the security people in there too, but she goes, I've never seen security people like this in my life. They're all wearing suits. They look like they're out of the X-Files, and we were laughing about it because she goes, I think they're all FBI, ha ha ha, and I said, yeah, that's pretty funny. I said, the security people that look like the X-Files. I said, that's great. I said, is there a David Duchovny there? I said, I'll come down during the day just to hang out and look at him. She was laughing. And, I thought about it later. I thought, that is weird. And, she also said, and we're not allowed in there. None of us. We don't have any security clearance. We're not allowed in the place. We're not allowed to go near it, And she goes, it's so different than where we come from. And I said, oh, okay. And then I harked into remembering what my father and I had just talked about. It was at Christmas that year. My dad and I showed my father Facebook, and he looked at it and he goes, the first thing out of his mouth, because he's a staunch businessman, he goes, how does this make money? And I looked at him and I said, God, I don't know. And it was before it had even any glint of advertising, right? And I said, Dad, I don't know. And he goes, well, how are they going to go public? How are they going to sell stock? He goes, how can you even run a company where you have no way to make money? And I said, I don't know. And I was just, kind of flummoxed about the whole thing. And I said, when I figure it out, I'll let you know. Because I was thinking, God, those servers must cost a fortune to run, and I just all going through my head. I let it go. I stopped thinking about it. Well, then years later, we come to find out that the CIA backed Zuckerberg, and they also backed Google, but they gave them their seed funding, their IP, their venture capital funding to get Facebook up and running. And that room there at that first campus they had to be where the NSA, the CIA, and everybody was parking in to start gathering information on us, and they have for years. And it all dawned on me, like 4 or 5 years ago, that this is what they were doing when I got into the severe mind control stuff. I went, this is what was going on this whole time, because somebody had to be funding them. They didn't have advertising. They had no way to make money. So yeah, of course, it all made sense, But it took me until I got into the mind control era to figure out what was all going on with these guys. So there's your answer, and a little kind of side note and fun story about how I figured it all out.
That's very interesting. Very interesting in how you figured that out. Now, have you talked to anybody, as we only got about 2.5 minutes here before we go to break at the bottom of the hour, have you talked to anybody to confirm those suspicions?
Well, we just about don't have to. Didn't Zuckerberg sit in front of the Senate or the, when was he in front of the Senate here in the United States? It was just about 6 months ago, a year ago. He admitted that they had done all this and it was all written up in all the papers.
True.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, it's not, I think it's been known for quite a while. And I think that also, didn't Snowden admit it too? I'm trying to remember if it was from him that I got my final verification, but I'd also gotten that verification from a couple of my sources that had said, oh yeah, they've been funding these guys all along. And it's not just them. They were paying IBM way back in the day too, but they didn't help IBM start. They started funding different operations. They were doing different projects where they could gather data. What our country has been looking for since the early 90s is data, because you get over to a certain amount of population. How do you start controlling them if you don't even know where they are, who they are, how many phone numbers they got, where they're living? That's why the census thing is huge, because everybody, do you guys remember the census of about 2020 here in the United States? There was a big uproar. Because they started asking questions about, are there illegal aliens living in the home? How many toilets do you have? I mean, it was crazy the things they were adding on that year. And but a good portion of the middle part of the United States refused to answer the census. And they just shoved the thing back at the census taker and say, I'm not doing it. So there's the United States sitting there going, half of our population won't even fill out our census forms anymore because we're getting too invasive. And this is about the time they're starting to gel their whole NSA, CIA thing, and the Snowden stuff is starting. And, they're getting to the point where they realize, well, we don't need a census. We can just start gathering all their credit history. We can gather everything they do through the internet. And now we can get their DNA on Ancestry.com. We can know everything about you in about 2 days if we want to know in 30 seconds if they want to know where you spent all your last 20 minutes. They know if you're online, they know if you're at the grocery store, they know if you're buying gas. I mean, it's insane. It's just crazy. They know every move you make. So they don't need a census anymore. They know how many people are in your home. They know how many toilets you've got. They got all your tax records tied in with you. They've got all your medical records tied in with you now. It's nuts. There's no privacy anymore. I don't know why anybody even tries to have privacy. The only way you're going to have privacy, folks, is if you fake your own death, get a new name, and never go on the grid again in your life. That's it.
Gotta leave it right there. Gotta leave it right there. We're going to break at the bottom of the hour. Fired up, Lorien Fenton joins us. We got it for another 60 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio. We continue after this.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Finish off your weekend and kick off your new week with me, Everett Thiemer, right here on Spaced Out Sundays. I'm going to bring you great guests, a little bit of snark, and plenty of information to think about. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty of woo as well. We are going to hit everything in the paranormal and supernatural, including the odd psychic Sundays. So tune us in on Sunday, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a Space Traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Looking for something new to push your limits? Look Beyond the Spectrum, a new docuseries featuring some of the best researchers in the world when it comes to everything from UFOs, government cover-ups, and Bigfoot in the forest. Truth seekers like Steve Bassett, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Richard Dolan, as well as others all chip in to bring their knowledge to you. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon as well as Tubi TV. Tell us what you think on our Amazon page.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Past the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have each and every one of you with us. Reminder, all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can continue to rock out to Bumblefoot. Read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Join the fun crowd at the SOR Space Travelers Club for $5 a month. You can also go over to We Read the Night, pick yourself up a brand new book, and do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. Lorien Fenton is here. We're talking ufology. We're going to get into experiencers now with Lorien on her Fenton Perspective. Lorien, so much focus in ufology over the last 18 months has, and I don't want to get into TTSA tonight because I'm getting sick of it, to be absolutely honest, and I know my Twitter crowd's going to be shocked on me saying that. But we have focused so much on what they've been doing. We've focused so much on what the military has been doing, and it's all big news for us and even some stories in the mainstream media. But when I sit back and I look, and I take the radio show hat off, I take the journalism hat off, and I'm just sitting there scratching my beard and running my hair or fingers through my beautiful hair. All right?
You do have beautiful hair, I gotta say.
I do. Yeah, I do. it is nice. And I remember that I'm an experiencer. That's what led me to this show, is my own experiences. And then I start thinking about all the other experiencers out there who, to me, outside of a couple like Calvin Parker and Chris Bledsoe, okay, are the forgotten souls of everything that is going on in ufology today. How are you looking at this on the side of the experiencer?
Trust me, Dave, it's planned that we don't remember these guys. It's all planned. That's what To the Stars Academy, that's what every other agency or organization or whatever's popped up over the years, and God bless them, even MUFON, they tell you about the sightings, they tell you about the ship, they tell you about the lights in the sky, they do all their reports, but when there's a whole thing about the alien abduction part of it, it just gets one line in their report. A person reporting thinks that they were abducted by aliens, whatever. And it doesn't go any further. At least it didn't till a few years ago. And then a few years ago, they started the experiencer, whatever they have with MUFON, where you can start reporting your abduction experiences. And then Free came along a few years ago and started doing the surveys on the experiencer. But what blows my mind is all the acknowledgement about the experiencer that is going on, how much more agencies or CIA or NSA, I don't know who all the agencies are involved, and organizations that are popping up to steer us away from actual contact and head us down that road of quote-unquote disclosure, like To the Stars Academy and, other groups that are forming of, this researcher group here and this group there and what have you. And we have all just kind of side-skirted the whole thing about the experiencer. It's amazing to me. The whole media, they never talk about the experiencer when they talk about To the Stars Academy. You barely even hear them talk about the fact that these Tic Tacs or whatever the heck it is that's out there, the gimbal footage, on and on. It could have a guy sitting inside of it flying the darn thing. We don't know. I'm not saying there are. I'm just saying they won't bring it up, and they're probably not going to bring it up for 10 years, at least 5 years, maybe 2 if we're lucky. But look at this. This is in my presentation I'm giving on Sunday to my MUFON group. It's all about the fact that Tom DeLonge in 2015 got out on a stage and said, "We're going to tell you stuff you've never heard before." And so now it's almost 2020, and we're just getting the fact that, yes, the military is finally going to let us know about Tic Tacs and about this, and we've got a TV show, and we're going to start talking about it. 5 years. So let me tell you, folks, the plan is very simple. It's going to be 20 years before they actually say there are aliens in those ships. And then they'll start, and it's going to be slow and easy. Trust me, it's a slow burn, very slow burn, very similar to Childhood's End, where the aliens parked the ships over every major city and waited 100 years until that whole generation that saw them arrive was dead. And the only people alive were the kids and the adults that had seen them since they were born and thought they were normal and part of the scenery. Okay, so now they're going to go on a whole generation of people that go, "Oh, well, I thought UFOs were real because they've been talking about them now from To the Stars Academy since I was, 5 years old. So, yeah, they got to be real." And so then they'll slow burn those kids into saying, "Oh, yeah, we think there might be aliens." And then, 20 years from then it'll be like, "Oh, we found an alien and we've been studying them for a long time." I mean, they've got to make sure I'm dead and gone, that Dave's dead and gone, that anybody who has questions about it like we do is way in the grave. It's that simple. What was the question, Dave?
I don't even remember now. I really do not remember.
Oh, I'm telling you,
but the question was about experiencers being the forgotten souls in today's ufology.
It's not, and what my point was to that was we're not just forgotten, we're completely erased. It's like you talk to people and the experiencers have nothing to do with anything anymore. And if they do, they've elevated themselves to cult leaders like this Corey Good guy. That's what people think when they look from the outside in and they're not experiencers. The first thing they see is, "Oh, Corey Good's at the top of the building at every conference. I guess he must be the real deal," like Whitley used to be. Whitley used to be the top billing at all the conferences, and so was Travis, and Whitley and Travis are the real deals. Now, supposedly there's a whole group of people out there that say that Whitley is not the real deal. I don't fall into that camp. I fall into to the, I'm pretty sure he is the real deal kind of thing. And the reason I can tell you guys that is because he said a few things over the years that only experiencers would know. So he must be having something going on. It's that simple. So there you go. So we had Whitley and Travis, and that was pretty much it. And then we had David Icke out there telling us about the evil reptilians, which was wonderful at the time because we never heard that before. And, you know, there were just a handful of people who were really on stage saying, yeah, this really happened to me. And people were starting to get that paradigm was a reality. Well, now everybody and their brother is a contactee, whether they've had contact or not. I mean, if they sneeze in their sleep and they remember it, they think a gray was holding the Kleenex. I mean, it's gotten to the point where everybody's a contactee and everybody's got to tell their story. And I don't have a problem with that as much as I have a problem with the fact that when it becomes fashionable to be a contactee, where do you draw the line on fibbing about it? And then it becomes a problem for you in your life. And is it really happening or not? I mean, I still to this day question everything that's ever happened to me. I even tell Melinda sometimes when we're together, I'll say, you know, maybe I'm just not a contactee at all, or, you know, maybe I don't remember anything. Maybe I'm just a nothing. And I'd be happy with that. I have no problem with it. But then she reminds me, oh, yeah, right. So that triangle, the helicopters weren't over your house. The triangle wasn't over your head. The U-shape craft wasn't over your head. What about the 3 green ones that showed up one night? What about this? What about the night we were all taken by the MyLabs people? I mean, I have to be reminded pretty much every 6 months that I actually am a contactee because I just refuse to let it be part of my existence, right? So, so there you go. I mean, it's nuts that the people that are, you know, real contactees are not getting seen out there. And I absolutely believe that the government is doing everything they can to infiltrate the UFO and make it so that the real experiencers are not heard, not the main thing on a stage. The main thing on a stage is always going to be David Wilcock, Linda Moulton Howe, and all these people. Grant Cameron's one of the few that's left up there that's actually an experiencer, and people like Dolan, and, you know, God bless them all, but they aren't experiencers. What are they doing on a stage? You know, and that's where, okay, now I'm going to plug my conference, UFOcon2020.com, UFOcon2020.com, very small conference, only 300 seats, but I can guarantee you folks, it'll blow your mind. Almost 85% or 90% of my speakers are all contactees. And these are real contactees. People like Eric Mitchell is in the movie The Seeding. We've got Dave Scott there, who's a contactee. I just signed a guy today that I can't talk about, major contactee that has not spoken at a conference for 7 years and only spoke at one before. He's being allowed to speak at my conference. I've got just some incredible people who have never spoken on a stage before. Lynn Moss comes to mind. She's a woman who has had contact with mantis beings her entire life, not really any other type of being. And the minute she said she would think about speaking at my conference, she said her mantis contact just got insane. She said, I've never seen anything like it. They were surrounding her in a circle of 12, all downloading information that she needs to give in her PowerPoint presentation. And she said what was really cool, it's never happened in her life before, is they were all rainbow-colored mantis beings because they looked like, you know, the gay pride flags. So we were laughing about that. I mean, it's what's happened since I decided to make this more of an experiencer event, because I've done disclosure now for 2 years in a row, and I'm kind of sick of it, Dave. I've gotten to the point where I don't care about disclosure anymore. I want to go back to the experiencers, back to the real, you know, earth of what's really going on in the UFO community. This is the nitty-gritty stuff. This is the reality. Oh, Robert Fullington, who's in the seating, my God, his story is mind-boggling. He's only been on a stage once, and he was being interviewed, and he was only interviewed for about 4 minutes on stage with the other group of people. So he's never given his full story before. So he's going to be very exciting to hear. And I'm flying a guy over from England who's never spoken at all, and he's never spoken in the United States. His name is Mike Feely, and he's got crazy stories. He used to be a police officer, and these are all stories that happened to him in the UK while he was a police officer, and the UFOs and the sightings and the aliens. Oh my God, it's crazy. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing. This year I'm actually heading back down the experiencer route because I truly believe we've got to head back that direction. To the Stars Academy and all these other groups are really, pulling the focus away from what's really going on in ufology. And the one thing I think they're really trying to keep us away from is the fact that this is all consciousness based, like Free discovered when they did their 4,000 people data crunching research project. It's all about consciousness. It's all about the perception you have and the communication you have with your ETs. And it's all about the fact that we're here to, learn something from them and raise our consciousness and our vibration and, maybe head off into another dimension when we die and we don't have to come back here again. Maybe that's all it's really about, And maybe there are gods. Maybe there are gods, our teachers, ourselves in the future. Maybe they're another dimensional version of ourselves. I don't know.
But Lorien, some people will say that the stories of Travis or the stories of Chris Bledsoe, the stories of other people, Betty and Barney Hill, okay, they were pretty tame. Now the stories are getting a little bit more vile, a little bit more, sci-fi.
They are, aren't they?
and the issue is we don't know if it's true or if it's just a seeker of 15 minutes of fame. And that's the issue that a lot of people are having is, we just don't hear of an abduction where somebody is gone. Now they're getting Whitleyed multiple times. They're seeing 48 different beings. They're now getting these, what I think, and I don't care what anybody says, it's my opinion, these BS downloads that are telling them, what's inside inner Earth or what kind of cheese the moon is made of.
Right.
And I'm saying, but this is what we're hearing. And for the experiencer to be pushed and cast aside from those who are having real experiences, real contact, I think has really drawn away from people coming out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I literally, now you're talking about people coming out and talking about their experiences. I know a whole group of people, and I can't talk about them right now, that won't come out. They won't go on radio. They won't come and speak at my conference even because they're afraid of the ridicule because of what all these other yahoos have done to us. And like I said, those yahoos were put in place for a reason by God knows who. And, I could speculate. I could go here. I could go there. But up until about 12 to 15 years ago, we didn't have yahoos in the UFO community. We had people, like I said, Stanton Friedman, Travis Walton, Whitley Strieber, Robert O'Dean, Clifford Stone, Wendell Stevens. I mean, we had military people. We had all kinds of really interesting and very honest. These guys couldn't lie if their life depended on it. These are amazing people. A lot of them Vietnam vets. I mean, and now I don't even know where these guys come from. I'm going to bring up his name, this Emery Smith guy. I mean, I don't know. I in some parts of me say some of his story is true, and other parts of me say that just can't be real. I'm sorry. But that's a problem because then people are going to question, just like you said, what if the next Whitley Strieber is sitting there right on the other line of my phone, he's telling me the honest to God truth, and I can't get anybody to believe it because I've got yahoos like these guys, like, Emery and Corey running around, It's very difficult. It's very hard. What do you do? I don't know. All I know is whoever's orchestrating, making sure that they're creating little cults within the UFO community is doing a damn good job. And nobody's critically thinking anymore. I go to the conferences and I'm shocked. I'm so shocked, you guys. You have no idea. I sit and I listen to, and I'm going to use her name. I'm going to tell you guys what I heard, and then it just blew my mind. Linda Moulton Howe opens 2 years ago at Contact in the Desert with this story about how these robots in a Japanese factory killed 30 people working in the factory on purpose, consciously, and they covered it all up, and she got it from an amazing source that she vetted. And I'm thinking to myself, what in the hell? 20 years ago, Linda, you would never have told that story on a stage anywhere. Even 10 years ago, you would never have done that. Why are you doing it now? Do you need the money that bad? Do you need to be asked back to every conference that bad and paid a few $1,000s or more to speak at those conferences? So you have to come up with sensationalized story. And I love Linda. I've always loved Linda. I think she's great. But, it makes me wonder when I hear them opening their presentation with a sensationalized story that can't be proven and we don't know. And it's just basically speculation. I just wonder what the heck's going on with them, And I don't know.
Good friend of this show, Eugene Braxton. And by the way, there's a name that you need to learn about.
Hi, Eugene.
Fantastic man and a very powerful experiencer.
Oh, cool. Good for him.
Yeah. Eugene says, it's only for potential fame, Dave. The field is saturated by con men and con women with super bizarre psi-type stories. Just stories. There is no standard now, which is good. For me, the UFO field is in a shambles, as was the NDE field when I solved the near-death experience.
When he solved it or had it?
Both.
Oh, he had it.
You got to have Eugene on your show. He's a fantastic interview as well.
Wonderful. I will. I'd be happy to. The near-death experience is very dear to my heart because I'm pretty sure I had one when I was 18 months old, even though I'm unaware of it. But I was very close to death at the time. And like I said, my grandmother fell asleep. So who knows, where I was heading when I was being touched by that angel by the crib. But the other experience I had was when I thought I'd had a near-death experience. I was very sick one night. The angel came by the bed and took me to this place of love and light. And I've never been afraid of death since then. And it was an extraordinary experience. I've never forgotten it. But not everybody, but a lot of the contactees I've talked to have said that they've had a very similar experience. And I don't know if the ETs are making it happen for people or if it's not really a near-death experience, but something that they give contactees so they understand that there's no fear of death. I don't know, but I'd love to talk to him about that sometime because there's a lot of speculation as to the fact that sometimes maybe the ETs are actually killing us and then reviving us on a molecular level, and we're never the same when we come back because we've had such a profound experience. And it could be a near-death experience of sorts. Anyhow, I just thought I'd throw that in for something for everybody to think about.
That's some serious woo right there.
Yeah, that is
serious woo.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about, what was it? You just said something, too, that just triggered something. Oh, downloads. That is a big problem.
We've got about 1 minute here, just so you know.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to talk about this week.
2 minutes.
Oh, 2 minutes. Okay. Well, the guys at Rendlesham Forest, now I absolutely believe that Peniston got a real download. We're talking amazing stuff. We're talking ones and zeros binary code that gave them all kinds of information. And, you can't make stuff like that up. Here's a guy who's just, a regular dude in the army, and the next thing you know, he's spouting out binary code all over the place, and he remembers it. That's even better because I couldn't remember that if my life depended on it. And then I have been talking about how over the years I get these strange communications. I used to call them downloads. Now I'm calling them communications because they're like profound moments of like the most LSD anybody could ever have of amazing information. And it's all very profound and very prophetic. And, it's saying things like love is the key. But what I found out later talking to a whole lot of other experiencers is they're having those same kind of communications. And I think what's happening is we're using the word download improperly. And I'll talk about that more when we come back from the break, if it's okay with you.
Oh, that's all right. We can definitely get into downloads because I do know people who said they have had them. Okay?
Yeah.
And I don't know what that's like. It's hard for me to fathom because I just don't understand it. I don't understand it whatsoever. I know you know a lot more people than that. So, yeah, let us get into this when we come back. We got about 30 seconds here. But
we do? Okay, well, then everybody needs to go check out UFOcon2020.com and start reading about the experiencers on the website, because there's some really cool people there and some non-experiencers that are really cool, too.
Yeah. I can't wait to get back down there.
It's going to be fun. We're going to have a blast.
I am hoping to actually see outside of the hotel this year, because I didn't last time. The only part I saw about San Francisco was literally leaving for about 2 seconds before I fell asleep.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you've got to make it to pancake dinner on Sunday night. That's the thing.
I will be there.
Yeah,
I will be there.
Want some pancakes at midnight. That's our big thing.
All right. More Lorien Fenton in hour number 3, along with the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day coming up.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there. The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thiemer. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I'm Dave Scott, hanging out with all of you from SOR headquarters. We welcome you listening in on KDNF AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, and down on Ridgecrest, California, KZFX 93.7 FM. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Great to have you with us. Don't forget, all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Balistraria Balistraria is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, has a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Don't forget to go get yourself a t-shirt and some swag from the SOR Vault, new book from We Read the Night, or join the SOR Space Travelers Club for $5 a month. For the final time tonight, we introduce Lorien Fenton from the Fenton Perspective, talking UFOs and the status of the ufology crowd, or ufology crowd these days. Lorien, welcome back.
Thank you, Dave. I'm so happy to be with you guys tonight. Do we have any more questions from the chat room?
We do. From the SOR Space Travelers Club, we have one from Frequency Girl, and she is asking, what does a parent do when their teenagers are having experiences with aliens?
I'm such the wrong person to ask that question because, I've never had kids, so I wouldn't even know what to tell you to do. You guys, I've never had kids. I've always had pets. That's my thing. And, but what I would do if my teenagers were having experiences, the first thing I'd be making darn sure of is that they're not having any fear around it. And if there's some kind of fear thing going on with their perception of what's happening, unless, let's just play this out for a second here, Dave. Unless they say, I'm being taken and they're cutting me open and I'm watching them do horrible things to me, then I would be in their room with them waiting for those aliens to show up, and I would tell the aliens a thing or two. And if that didn't work, I would be sure my son or daughter would be telling them a thing or two themselves, that they've got to learn that they're in charge. They're the one who's going to, decide how the experience is going to go, and that they're going to have the communication with them, and it's a two-way street. And they need to set boundaries with the aliens. Nobody does this. It just blows my mind. It's so simple to me. I set boundaries a long time ago somehow, and I have great communication with my aliens. I've been taken to beautiful places. I've had some extraordinary experiences, but I've never had a fearful or scary one. I have had some scary things paranormal wise, and what's interesting is while it was happening, I wasn't afraid. The people I was with were deathly afraid. I was not. You know why? Because I drew the line a long time ago and said, you guys aren't going to scare me. And even if there's a ghost there that seems to be doing something menacing, I've never jumped. I've never been, frightened enough to freak out and scream. I've never had anything like that happen to me because I just don't have that built into me anymore. Having said that, I think this is something that everybody who's having contact, especially teenagers or children, then they need to learn that, yes, there's a possibility this could be a fearful experience, but you're in control and you need to set the boundaries for it. It's that simple. That's my opinion, Dave. I don't know if it'll work. I don't know if it'll help. There are people out there like Joe Jordan who say if you invoke the name of Jesus Christ, the aliens are going to leave. I don't think it works all the time that way. I think it has to be something that's from not a concocted spiritual supposed belief in Jesus Christ. I think it's your belief in yourself, and you're standing your ground with the ETs and saying, look, if you guys want me for something, or if it's for me, or maybe this is all my learning experience, and you need to tell me what it is you want from me, and I can help you or you can help me. But it has to be done that way. There has to be some kind of boundaries drawn and some kind of, just so there's no fear involved. So that but mostly, and I hate to ask this question of the spaced out group, but are these children that were seeing invisible friends their entire life until they became teenagers and now they've turned into grays, what their true form is? There's a lot of circumstances. It's a pretty general question. So there's a lot of circumstances around it, surrounding each one of those teenagers' experiences. But bottom line is keep them out of fear. Make sure that the aliens that are contacting them are doing it out of love, and make sure the kids understand that they've got to draw their boundaries and say, look, if you're coming to hurt me, you're not allowed in. And if you're coming to share a loving experience, then I gladly accept it, and let's communicate. So that's what I would do if I had kids. Okay.
Sounds good. I just asked them what they see.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't even think about that.
I asked mine what they see.
Yeah,
Like
and what did the kids say?
For instance, I've caught the little guy looking many a times at strange objects.
Huh.
Yeah.
And what is he seeing?
Well, usually there's times where he doesn't answer. Right? There's times when he's 6.
Oh, he's 6. Okay. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah. You just have to kind of go with it and just allow them the opportunity. And sometimes he speaks about it. Sometimes he doesn't. And I never push it.
Did he have invisible friends or still have them? Or
he did at one point. That was scaring him. And I think we got rid of that one, but that was a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Now he doesn't really talk, but like, for instance, I've said it many times before, we have a haunted house. There's weird things that happen here at times. And there'll be times where him and my dog will just be staring at the doorway. You look in the doorway and you see like a shadow move.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So
does he tell you what it is that he just saw out of the shadow? Was it just a shadow or was it a person?
No, he more confirms. So when him and I, one night, probably a year ago, and I've told this story on the air, we were sitting at our kitchen counter. It's kind of like an island in our kitchen. And he was having a nighttime snack before bed, and I was sitting beside him, and he was on my left. And we both watched what looked like these captain's bars, like military captain's bars.
Yeah.
Probably a foot to 18 inches each, about 4 or 5 inches wide. Go right from our dining room, right through our kitchen, and right through the window where our kitchen sink is.
They were flying, and they were
just floating.
And okay, now wait, they look like the ribbons that people get on their military outfits. Okay.
Yes. Like
but
a captain's bar.
They're long and about 6. Yeah. Interesting.
About 4 or 5 inches wide. And I looked at him, and I'm looking at these, and I'm looking at him, and he's looking at them. and then they disappeared. And I said, "Holy cow! Did you see that?" And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "Well, what did you see?" He goes, "I saw the 2 long lights go through the window."
Oh, cool.
And you got to, and for people to understand, I mean, the easiest explanation is, there was a car. Okay, I live in a cul-de-sac that has 8 houses. There are no street lights. Okay, there's no traffic, people not coming up. Okay, my closest neighbor on the right side of my house is, there's probably you could probably fit about 5 houses in between them and me.
Right.
Okay, so
exactly.
when someone comes up our road, it's easy to see. There was no traffic.
Yes. Yeah, right? I've been to your house. I know.
Yeah. So, I mean, when we do this, and I see this, I said, "Well, what did you see?" He goes, "I saw the 2 long lights go right through the window."
Wow.
So, okay, that's kind of cool. That's kind of
more than cool. Did he get any feelings off of it? Did you ask him any more questions, or just did you see it?
Well, here's the freaky part. About 3 minutes later, he gets into an uncontrollable tantrum. Starts bawling his eyes out. And I'm like, "What are you crying for, bud?" He goes, "I don't want you to die. You are going to die soon."
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's scary. Well, what does soon mean to him?
I don't
50
know.
years or 2 days?
Well, I could tell you it wasn't 2 days, because this is now going on about a year and a half ago, or a year and a bit ago.
Yeah, right.
No, pardon me. It happened last year, around October last year. So I'm thinking, I'll tell you, I wrapped myself in bubble wrap for about 2-3 weeks.
I bet you did.
It scared me. I rarely get freaked out, rarely get freaked out. But this scared me.
Yeah, that would have freaked me out if my kid had said that to me too. I really would have freaked out. Have you had any conversations about that particular prediction?
No, I never push them. I never push them for information. And I think that's a mistake that a lot of parents make, is because we're so curious that we push and push and push, and then that natural response turns into imagination.
Yeah. I was just going to say that, it's hard if you do push them. Who knows if it's really what they actually experienced at the time or something that they think might be going on, or better yet, they don't want to lose their dad. So they may make up something completely different than what they actually saw at the time.
But you know what? He's never drawn any weird pictures. He's never done anything like that. And he's really into books now. He's 6 years old, and he's not a good artist. And he gets that from my side of the family. And anyways, but he doesn't draw, you get some of these kids who've had experiences. They're drawing aliens with black eyes or shadows with hats on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We see all that. Yeah. I'm not getting that. Not getting that at all from him. So it's just one of those things where I'm just monitoring, but I think as parents, what we have to do is we have to be just a little bit open, because a lot of times these stories that are out there that the kids are giving us is downright truth, because they don't know any better.
Lorien. Oh, absolutely.
They don't know how to fake they don't know how to fake a gray. They don't know how to fake a mantid being or a reptilian or something along those lines.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's very interesting. Children are wonderful. And, I'll never forget reading Whitley's book about the time when he realized his son was being taken as well, and being, that he was having these
That's where I stopped reading. That's where I stopped reading the book.
Really?
I that exact moment when he looked to the side, I was reading Communion in 1999. I was a brand new father to my daughter with my ex-wife. And my daughter was about 4 or 5 months old. And I'd never had any ET experiences, hadn't even seen I'd seen one UFO at that point. And I'm reading it while I'm holding my daughter.
God.
And all of a sudden Whitley gets into where he's sitting in this craft, and he looks to the side of him. And there is his son.
Right.
I got so scared by that, so freaked out. I closed the book, and I've never opened it since. My bookmark is still in there.
Oh, God. Well, I don't blame you for freaking out, and I don't blame the parents for freaking out that have had children come to them and talk to them about this. The whole phenomena is just freaky, but once you start learning to live with it and you don't let it ruin your existence as a human, I think that's the biggest problem we're facing in the whole UFO community is the people I talk to that are just coming out for the first time. I was on the phone yesterday with a woman that is just finally admitting to herself that she's been, being taken all this time. She's got hybrid children and all this. And, she's just like, well, I've had to go into therapy, and I'm like, and I got to do this, I got to do that. I'm like, you don't need to do any of that. All you need to do is sit down and tell the ETs, come when I need you to come, and let's have a conversation, and let's, do our thing together, and that's fine, but don't let it interfere with my life. And I don't understand why so many people get so wrapped up into it to the point where they're seeking answers from everybody that will talk to them about it, that's had contact, when they won't seek the answers from the aliens themselves or within themselves. Because you have the answers to every reason why they're contacting you within yourself. You just have to look for it. And it's that simple to me. And maybe I'm a weird exception because I've been a loner my entire life. And I really like being alone, and I like answering questions for myself, and I like looking up answers to things myself and learning for myself. I also like to listen. I'm not one of these people who's a great conversationalist, as you guys can tell by the way I answer questions here on the radio show. But I'm not one of these people that can sit there and hold the whole conversation around stuff. If I find it frivolous and of no importance, I'll just sit there and shut up because I have nothing to say. I don't find it fascinating, interesting, or whatever. I'm a little weird that way. And I think it's because of all the contact or the paranormal experience I've had my entire life. Once you've had this happen to you, and I've said it a million times and I'll say it again, once you've had an experience, you are not a lowercase human anymore. You are an uppercase human, and relating to normal people, their normal lives, and what they do is very difficult. And having said that, there's another responsibility that comes with this kind of contact, and that is you need to learn how to be here on this planet and hold down a job and function with the lowercase humans. I think that may be part of the whole experience and why the ETs are dealing with certain people and not other people. Is because our job now is once you've had contact, you've got to be responsible and you got to figure that out. It's been a hard road for me. I love being alone. I could stay in my house for a week or two at a time and never deal with a human being again if I didn't have to. But I make myself go to work. I make myself talk to people when they want to sit around and talk about politics. I actually make myself sit there and listen to them and nod my head and you guys, those things are of no concern to people who've had contact. And I realize that, but I'm also learning that I've got to be part of the human race. I'm stuck here until I'm out of this body, and the ETs know that. And I know that. So, there's nothing you can do. You just got to stick around, have a normal life, do the best you can and function. And, one of the people I think is doing a really good job of that is Samantha Mowat. I mean, she's got kids, she has a life, but, she functions, she does the laundry, she takes care of things, right, Dave? I mean, and you too,
oh, yeah.
You've got the radio show, you got your family, you're a contactee, but it hasn't stopped you from, just being a normal human, And I run into so many people that are just so flipped out about being a contactee that I just go, where did that paradigm start happening for everybody that they got to be afraid and freaked out about it? Why not integrate it? Learn how to be an integrator. Maybe I'll start a whole new cult. Integrate your ET experience with your human life. Workshop 101. Do you think I should do that?
I think you should. I think you totally should.
Oh, but seriously, it's just it blows my mind. I told you once that when I was about 15 years old, whoever communicates with me, they seriously said this to me because my parents always said, what are you going to be when you grow up? And, what are you going to do? We want you to do this and we want you to do that. You need to become a lawyer, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, here I am, an artist. And I'm like, I want nothing to do with that life. And I get this message one day in my head and they said, don't quit your day job. And I'm thinking, what's that all about? But I took it to heart. I was like 16. I think I had my first job at the time, and I took it to heart, and I've never stopped working since that moment. And it was the best thing I've ever had happen to me is having a job all the time to have to focus on instead of focusing on, why me? What's happening with me? That kind of attitude. And I think it's super important that people have something that they can take their mind off of the whole ET experience or the whole community or what have you and go about and just function. Just doing laundry, washing the dishes. I mean, those are things that should be a pleasant kind of zenful experience being a human instead of having to worry about all this ET stuff and being anxious. That's something we didn't talk about, but Dave and I were talking earlier about people having anxiety and having OCD that are contactees, and that it just seems to me, and I was telling David this before the show, that most contactees I know have some kind of, quote unquote phobia or disorder or something. And I got to thinking about it, and I can't think of one of them that isn't got something wrong, quote unquote wrong with them according to our medical system now here on this planet. And I think it's just heightened awareness and a heightened empathy and heightened telepathic, like being almost telepathic where you can hear people's thoughts. That would make somebody very anxious, I would think. I think we've been giving extra sensory perception to the point where just being here is hard, and it makes us have these symptoms of all these crazy diseases, they want to call it, when in actuality, they're just, you're struggling to be here and be like everybody else because we're so heightened,
Very, very true. Lorien, I got to shut this thing down because we got to get ready for our break at the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. But I want to say a big thank you for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. I love it when you're on the show with me. It's just like catching up with a family member that you miss and love. So thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome. I always have a blast. I'm sorry I was kind of tired, but hey, we made it through and all is good. And you'll get your guy on talking about the Hawaii, whatever they were. What is that, soldiers? Foot soldiers?
Night marchers.
Night marchers. Oh my God, that sounds so cool. I can't wait to hear the show.
Me either. We'll be back with more Spaced Out Radio right after this.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans! It's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from dance to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckard, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thiemer. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I'm your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have each and every one of you with us. Reminder, if you've missed most of this show or others, you can always head on over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we got a plethora of features for you. You can join up on the SOR Space Travelers Club for $5 a month. You can also hang on out and read up on the news with Captain Shirk. For sure. She updates it daily on the SOR Newswire. Rock out to Bumblefoot, do a little shopping at the Vault, or grab a new book at We Read the Night. We got lots of stuff on there for you, so go check it on out. Speaking of the news, let's get to it. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR News Wire at the back end of every show. We get to the weird and the strange. Oh my gosh, are we starting strange here? If you're in the supermarket looking for chicken, make sure it's none of that satanic kind. A man strangled his sister to death after believing his chicken dinner was possessed by the devil, a court has heard. Khalid Ashraf choked his sister Sarah to death after she came to visit him at his apartment in Tower Hamlets, London in January. London police made the statement. He later told police that he killed his 35-year-old sister because she had been told to do so, or he had been told to do so, by Satan and his Buddhist leader. The court heard Ashraf became depressed after being diagnosed with HIV in 2011. Prosecutors said he had worked as an auditor at KPMG for 8 years until October 2018. Police said his sister had come to stay with him in his 2-bedroom flat after she became concerned about his mental health, although he had not been diagnosed with an illness. Sarah told her boyfriend about her concerns after Ashraf told her that the chicken on his plate had been talking to him, the court heard. Prosecutor James Mulholland said Ashraf later told police he had killed his sister and said Satan whispers into people's ears, and he used manipulation and lies to commit acts. Judge Richard Marks, not the singer, described the case as tragic, as Ashraf's sister had cared for him like a mother. The judge ordered Ashraf to be sent to a psychiatric facility after accepting his plea based on evidence from psychiatrists who determined that he was suffering from paranoid schizophrenia. Officers were called to Ashraf's apartment when a concerned neighbor alerted police after seeing blood on his floor around 6:20 p.m. on January 5th, but when they arrived, the blood from the door was gone. Sarah's body was found in a bedroom in the apartment, and Ashraf was arrested. Ashraf later underwent a mental health assessment, and it was established that he was suffering from paranoid psychosis, and had been mentally ill at the time of his sister's killing. Watch out for satanic chicken, people. An opossum has illegally taken up residence in the ceiling of a Duke University dorm where students have been complaining about being bitten by fleas. School's Assistant Vice President of Student Affairs, Joe Gonzalez, says that the school has yet to catch the elusive opossum that students first complained about in October. He says the creature has escaped custody partly because it appears to be splitting its time between the Few Quad dorm and somewhere else. Reports of fleas also began to surface last month, prompting the school to put students up in another dorm while they fumigated the place. Gonzalez says the opossum may have brought the fleas, but that's unconfirmed. Irritated students are questioning why they're dealing with such conditions at a $78,000 per year school. Fleas happen. Fleas happen. It's like elementary school all over again when the kids get lice. Why do we call it lice? The kid has fleas. Let's just call it what it is. Right? You don't call a shovel a digging item or a digging utensil. You call it a shovel because that's what it is. Lice are fleas. Yeah. Hate it when those notices come around. So-and-so in class has been found with fleas. Or lice. Oh, well. Let's move over to snakes. I hate snakes. Scare the Jesus out of me. A snake found by workers at a sewage plant in Britain turned out to be a venomous species from South America, animal rescuers said. The RSPCA said an exotic animal specialist was dispatched to Thames water sewage in England after employees reported a snake found on the path. It almost certainly wasn't flushed down a toilet, as there is no way it would have survived. Our machinery, which filters out everything other than pee, poo, and paper, would have killed it. I can only fathom it was released or escaped, Sewage Works manager Kenny Masters said. Boy, he's good with the vocabulary, isn't he? Animal welfare officer Justine Herman said the exotic animal specialist Phil Hamilton was surprised to identify the snake as a false water cobra, a venomous species native to South America. The species name refers to the hood on its neck, which resembles that of a cobra. We have now taken the snake to a nearby specialist facility where it will be cared for until its owner can be tracked down or it can be rehomed, Herman said. Thankfully, it's in good condition, is eating well. We're grateful to the Thames Water staff who found the snake and got in touch, as this snake would have not fared well in the cold weather. Ugh, snakes. Ugh. Gross. Gross. Ugh. All right. This is kind of cool. Most people look at fish guts and think, ew, gross. Lucy Hughes, though, oh, she sees it as dollar bill signs. Little Lucy here looked at the bloody waste from a fish processing plant and saw an opportunity. Then a student in production design at the University of Sussex, Hughes was interested in making use of things people normally throw away. So she arranged a visit to the fish processing plant near her university. She came away a bit smelly. She said she even had to wash her shoes. Oh, my God. She says, but she was inspired. After tinkering with various fish parts, she developed a plastic-like material made from the scales and skin. Not only is it made from waste, but it's also biodegradable. The material, Marina Tex, won Hughes this year's James Dyson Award, paying her $39,000 for her recent design or engineering graduate who helps develop products that solves a problem with ingenuity. Hughes beat out 1,078 entrants from 28 different countries. Hughes, who grew up in London, has always loved to spend time near the ocean. As a budding product designer, she graduated this summer. She was disturbed by statistics like 40% of plastic produced from packaging is only used once, and by 2050 there will be more plastic in the sea by weight than fish. She wanted to develop something sustainable and figured the sea itself was a good place to start, given that the University of Sussex is outside the beach town of Brighton. There's value in waste, and we should all be looking towards waste products rather than virgin materials if we could. It's actually kind of cool product. Very cool. Good for her. Yeah. So, anyways, once she decided to work with fish skin and scales, she began searching for a binder to hold the material together. She wanted to help keep everything local, so she began experimenting with seaweed and chitosan from shellfish shells. Using her own kitchen as a lab, she tried more than 100 combinations, drawing insight and motivation from the global bioplastic community, where scientists share ideas and formulas freely for the greater good. Eventually, she settled upon a red algae as a binder. I was learning it all as I went along, but not being deterred by things that didn't work. The resulting product is strong, flexible, and translucent, with a feel familiar to plastic sheeting. It biodegrades on its own in 4 to 6 weeks, which gives it a major sustainability advantage over traditional bioplastics, most of which require industrial composters to break it down. In addition to utilizing materials that would otherwise be thrown away, the production process itself uses little energy since it doesn't require hot temperatures. One single Atlantic codfish produces enough waste for 1,400 Marina Tex bags. That's actually very, very cool. All right, moving on here. Russia's underwater spy ship recently traveled across the Atlantic Ocean and is currently sailing in America's backyard. Yantar, allegedly a ship meant to research the deep ocean, has an odd habit of skulking around sunken military equipment and undersea telecommunications cables. The ship has suddenly popped into the Caribbean, prompting military watchers to wonder what the strange ship is up to. Yantar is a Russian Navy vessel, but one that lacks a single weapon. The ship was commissioned in 2015 and is officially known as a special purpose ship or oceanographic vessel. It is operated by the Russian Navy's main Directorate of Underwater Research, which Russian military watchers believe controls Russia's undersea spy efforts. Yeah, Popular Mechanics first covered the ship in 2017 when it was sighted in the eastern Mediterranean. More recently, it participated in the search effort to find the missing Argentine Navy submarine ARA San Juan. Most large vessels, particularly oceanographic vessels, typically operate with their automated identification system transponders on, allowing anyone to observe their movements in real time. Websites such as marinetraffic.com allow anyone to watch these ships. Like many vessels, Yantar has its own page at Marine Traffic where people can upload photos of the ship and observe its travels. Like many ships, Yantar typically sails with AIS turned on, so it was with interest that the military watcher H.I. Sutton noticed recently that the Russian ship suddenly turned up in the Caribbean off the coast of Venezuela. AIS beacon broadcasting its position loud and clear. The ship is made the trip across the Atlantic with its beacon off but turned it back on again, likely to accommodate local port authorities. But why make the trip with the beacon off? Maybe it's spying. Da, da, da. All right. The population of a tiny Canadian island off the coast of Maine is demanding their government start a year-round ferry service or build a new bridge to the mainland, to keep American customs officials from opening what they say is nearly every piece of mail they've been getting for over a year. Campobello Island sits in the Bay of Fundy off the coast of the province of New Brunswick, but the only way to easily access the island outside of the summer months is via Maine. This means mail headed to the island residents from other parts of Canada must leave the country and drive for nearly an hour in a sealed truck through the state before it returns to its final destination back in Canada. This was rarely too much of an issue for the island's nearly 800 residents. Many of them cross the border each and every day to go to work into mainland New Brunswick or even Maine itself. Former U.S. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt even used to vacation on the island. Everything changed, though, once Canada's government legalized recreational cannabis just over a year ago. Since then, U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers have stopped nearly every truck carrying mail bound for Campobello Island as it has crossed the border into Maine and has opened most packages and many letters heading for the island's residents. That's because they're looking for that evil hippie lettuce. The officers are searching for pot ordered from the province's government-run online store since the product is illegal in Maine. CBP defended the practice when reached for comment by Fox News, saying they're only protecting U.S. laws on U.S. soil. CBP officers possess broad search authority to ensure the safety and admissibility of all goods entering the United States. This includes the ability to inspect and search all persons' baggage, merchandise arriving in or transiting through the U.S., said spokesperson Michael McCarthy. They don't want the devil's lettuce in the United States, people. No doing that. But so many packages containing cannabis products have been seized at the border since legalization that Cannabis New Brunswick, the only authorized seller of marijuana in the province, has stopped shipping to the island entirely, and a number of other online retailers have followed suit. But that hasn't stopped CBP officials from continuing to inspect Campobello's mail. Expectations of privacy that the rest of Canada just don't exist on Campobello, local engineer Justin Tinker says. Residents of the island complained of what they called an invasive and unnecessary practice that they were never before subject to, certainly not on this scale, and say that the increased mail inspections are just the latest salvo in a growing feeling of isolation from the rest of the country. That's terrible. Let them have their doobies. Come on. Finally, authorities have arrested a woman whose husband's corpse was found in a freezer in a bedroom inside their Southwest Missouri home, where it may have been stored for nearly a year. Barbara Waters of Joplin was arrested a day after she was charged with abandonment of a corpse, a felony that is punishable up to 4 years in prison. The grim discovery was made after a witness told police that Paul Barton's body had been in Waters' freezer since his death on December 30th, 2018. A police officer wrote in a probable cause affidavit. Waters was arrested without incident at her home in Joplin with the assistance of the U.S. Marshals Service. Yeah, they went in guns blazing there. She was standing in the yard there, Police Captain Nick Jimenez said. The witness said Waters threatened to kill him if he notified police. Waters also threatened to kill police, firefighters, and emergency medical workers if they attempted to come into her house, the witness said, according to the affidavit. Police said she had an unspecific mental disorder and is known to carry firearms. An autopsy is planned to determine the cause of death and confirm the identity of the remains, while the criminal complaint says Waters knowingly disposed of or left Barton's corpse at her home without notifying law enforcement. Jimenez says formal identification of the body is pending. Oh, that's gross. The smell of that. Smell of that. Terrible. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air. Yeah, all you got to do is fill it out. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. Which indigenous legends or folklore do you follow and why? Mike, Path of the Skinwalker. The legend has been substantiated by the indigenous people and warranted taxpayer money to study something they're supposedly in their path. John says, and I like this. This is a quote. He goes, I follow this. An old Cherokee told his grandson, my son, there is a battle between two wolves inside all of us. One is evil. It is anger, jealousy, greed, resentment, inferiority, lies, and ego. The other is good. It is joy, peace, love, hope, humility, kindness, empathy, and truth. The boy thought about it, then asked his grandfather, which wolf wins? The old man quietly replied, the one you feed. Oh, that's powerful. Love that. Joe, the NDN are the original paranormal investigators and researchers and have done much also to tell about the star people. If only the paranormal field was wise enough to get off their high horse field of devices and take the time to listen. Cajun Medicine Man, we love his responses around here. Some paranormal investigators would learn much from the ceremonies. I only know of a few who are respectful. The laws of the unseen or the seen cannot be broken. To understand them, you have to. Hold on, got to click the other tweet. Stop thinking like the Western world. You want to know them? Know yourself first. Once you have done that, things will come to you. Like all things, there is good and there is bad. Caution should be in place. So wise. So very wise. All right, let's move to Facebook. Matthew. Bear walkers. I have a First Nations friend who told me about his experience with a bear walker. I trust my friend's word that he encountered something that couldn't be explained. Sparkles. I read about any that come my way, or I read about any that come my way. It is also so interesting, but I have nothing specifically that I follow. I think we so often discount the information that can be gleaned through legends because many have minds that are not open to possibilities of information unknown to us within the lives we live. Caden, I educate myself on most because I like them. Never know what kind of situation I may find myself in. Coral, I followed the folklore first related to me by my Norwegian grandparents. Shar, I want to learn more about the Barbie doll-sized people. Ryan, skinwalkers, because if you follow them, they follow you. Oh, it's like social media. Marty gets the last word. All cryptids fascinate me. It is just a subject that has always interested me since I was a kid. All right. Thank you, everyone, for participating in the Thought of the Dave today. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Big thanks to Captain Shirk for getting our news ready for the SOR Newswire. Great job again, Captain. I clap for you. And to Lorien Fenton stepping up to filling in at the last second so we could do this show live. Thank you to Lorien for doing that as well. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, in our chat rooms, on LGAB, Spreaker, Facebook, Revolution Radio, the SOR Space Travelers Club on our website. That was rocking tonight. You should join it. $5 a month. And, of course, all the beautiful snarkers on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for tuning us in tonight, making us part of your evening before you head off to sleep. Because together, my friends,
don't make a mistake. We're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Have a great night, everybody. We finish off the week with Teresa Tyndall, UFO lobbyist for PRG and MUFON. Have a great night. Let's turn up the woo tomorrow night on the UFOs. Good night.